Well, why should anybody be surprised that the allegations against Nigel Farage are that he's sold out on immigration? Well, he sold out many years ago, didn't he? When he handed over the UKIP membership list to Hope Not Hate, an ongoing process whereby the neo-communists, or what Matt Collins notoriously said in that covertly recorded video, their own Red Army, he handed over private and confidential details to the Hope Not Hate Red Army to vet his members and select his candidates for him. So why should it surprise anyone that in actual fact he's now sold out on immigration? Well, replacement migration is a complete sellout anyway, because that's what zero net or net zero, whatever they want to call that nonsense, means. 600,000 Brits leave the country every year to be replaced by 600,000 non-white immigrants. Nigel Farage is completely at ease with that. He also told Stephen Edridge as well, basically, that he had no problem with Britain being only 74% white, and he didn't seem in the least bit phased that whites might become a minority by 2050, 2066, whichever date we follow. So, this is just typical Farage. The fact that he's now pandering to Islam and courting the Muslim vote, that also should surprise absolutely no one, because Nigel Farage is a snake, like all the other snakes in Westminster in actual fact. He's no different than the rest of them, he's no better, he's no worse in actual fact, he's an incurable liar. But the simple truth is that thousands of people have cancelled their Reform UK memberships, quite rightly so, and the rest of them need to do the same, although they won't because there's so many deluded groupies. But the evidence proves, quite simply, that Nigel Farage is weak on immigration, he's completely weak on mass remigration, he's opposed to it, he intends to keep a large influx of immigrants coming into this country every year. 600,000 means nothing. Where's the difference? It's only slightly less than Lib Lab Con in actual fact. So there's no point voting for deep fake Reform UK. And those who say, there's no one else, who can we vote for? Well, there are plenty of people to vote for. The British Democrats, UKIP, the Homeland Party. There most definitely do exist alternatives, credible, viable alternatives. Reform UK is not the only option, and Nigel Farage most definitely is not our last chance of survival, because in truth, if he is, we're all doomed anyway. So I would advise people to check out of the Farage conundrum, wake up to the reality of what he is, not what he's become, it's what he's always been. I've been on his case since 2010 in actual fact on all of these issues. And all he can respond with is a litany of lies and false allegations, because that's what Nigel is, an incurable liar. He's belongs in the snake pit. That's what he is, a snake. So don't be surprised by it. Look elsewhere and you will find something far better than Reform UK, which is completely deep fake. Has he not proved now, incontrovertibly, I think, that he's always been what I have accused him of being? An establishment shill.
But the nub of it is, we have a Muslim population in Britain growing by about 75% every 10 years. Right? That's just where we are.
Mm-hmm.
If we politically alienate the whole of Islam, we will lose. We'll lose.
So how does one include
We
them?
will lose. By 2050, goodness knows what kind of a terrible state we're going to be in.
Mm-hmm. Are you concerned about the ethno right?
Electorally, no. I'm delighted. If you're involved in blogging, or you're involved in X or whatever, the TikTok or whatever you are, and if your motivations are literally hatred and loathing of everybody else, please go over. We don't want you. Go over there.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be very comfy over there. We don't want you. And this is going to be one of the big tasks for Reform, is that we're building a very powerful political movement. I know we are. It's occupied my whole life. I know, but I know we're doing it. They're terrified of us. Both Labour and Conservative are absolutely scared witless over our potential. And the one thing the establishment will try to use again and again and again is accusations of extremism, intolerance and racism against us. So I make this plea. If you really, really hate everybody else because they're slightly different to you, please don't join the party. But the vast majority of people aren't like
No,
that.
that last clip from the Winston Marshall show was truly revealing, wasn't it? Anyone who's prepared to stand up for their ethnicity, their identity, and their culture, i.e. the white British, I'd better just go over there and stand in a corner because, as Nigel says so arrogantly and condescendingly, we don't want you. That's quite all right, Nigel. We most definitely don't want you and deep fake Reform UK. But it really does show what utter contempt this man has for people who basically won't do things his way. In other words, sell out on immigration, pander to Islam and court the Muslim vote. The man is utterly atrocious. And it's absolutely no surprise at all, is it? Surely, that thousands of people have quit Reform UK and thousands more are going to, because we're going to keep up that round of pressure. And they can come over and stand over in the corner with us. Absolutely right. Because the corner, as Nigel Farage puts it, is now becoming so crowded, quite frankly, that before much longer, a mass movement will grow out of that crowded corner and overturn and topple Reform UK. And as for his deluded drivel that the establishment are afraid of Reform UK, no one in the establishment is afraid of Reform UK. And I'll tell you why. Before the general election, fake Farage said this: it's either me or someone like Nick Griffin. Well, actually, it won't be someone like Nick Griffin. It will be someone vastly more professional than Nick Griffin, being no doubt about it whatsoever. Join us here in the corner. This is where it's really at. This is where it's really happening. The defence of Britain and our culture and our people, not with fake Farage and his con men.